Hey y'all, it's your girl Charity B, and welcome to the I'm Enough Mastering Self-Love podcast. This podcast was designed for both men and women who are in the process or wanting to start their self-love journey. Here we discuss many topics related to self-love that promotes healthy habits that will help support your mental and emotional health, boost self-confidence, and self-worth. So get ready. This is something you don't want to miss. If you like what you hear in this episode, feel free to DM me and leave comments on my Instagram page at iam.enoughmsl. The podcast is also available on YouTube. The link will be in my description box as well as on my Instagram page. Everyone wants the glow, but few are willing to endure the grind. People celebrate what they can see, but rarely acknowledge what it took to get there. Most people only will meet the finished versions of you. They may never see the sacrifices, setbacks, and lonely decisions that created it. The glow is what gets attention, but the grind, that requires true character. Do you have what it takes? Hey y'all, it's your girl Charity B, and welcome back to the I'm Enough Mastering Self-Love podcast. If you are new here, welcome. I am glad that you chose to tune in and step forward into loving yourself on a deeper level. If you are a returning listener, welcome back. My hope for each of you is that today's episode gives you something meaningful to carry forward. Whether it's a reminder to embrace your journey, tools to help you evolve into the best version of yourself, or insight you can apply in your everyday life. Whatever it is that you need, I hope you find it here. Hey guys, welcome back to another great episode. This is episode 11. Nobody sees the grind before the glow. We're going to be talking about consistency when nobody is clapping yet. Talking about delayed gratification, staying disciplined without validation, and building in private. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we're going to talk about the unseen season, the boring, right in the middle part of growth, when you have to show up every day without getting an instant reward. You're building habits when motivation fades out. You have feelings that your success is invisible. There are going to be moments where success seems a little less likely to happen during this time. And this is the part where you have to find the grit to keep going, your simple reason for doing it all. During the unseen season, it looks like waking up early to work on your goals before anyone else even sees. It's choosing healing when nobody can see the internal battles you're winning. It's sticking to a budget while everyone else seems to be enjoying the rewards. This is the most challenging part and can last for a very long time where nothing is happening. It's simply you holding you accountable, you striving to get through and to succeed. It's you going to therapy, setting and standing on boundaries, and showing up for yourself over and over again. There's no applause, there's no recognition. This is where you are doing the work, making those sacrifices, changing your habits, and staying committed without seeing the results yet. And it surely can be the most frustrating part of it all. And this is specifically the time where people often quit. This is your most fragile stage of the growth process. It's the longest period of growth, and it is also the most fragile because people often quit here in that stage. Not because they're incapable or aren't talented enough, but because the reward just feels so far away. It's hard to keep going and keep striving and keep trying to achieve something that you can't see, or you're trying to obtain a goal that you can't see. That's the hardest thing of tricking the mind to understand. We're going to get something at the end of this. We may not see it. We may not be able to touch it. We can't hear it, but we just know in our minds. We have to keep telling ourselves that there's something big on the other side of this as long as I push through. Sometimes we think we're waiting for success to happen when really success is waiting for us to see how committed are we? Can we remain faithful? Can we continue to show up when the only person who knows how hard you're trying is you? This is also where you build that self-respect. This is also where you build that self-respect, that confidence that you see exudes off of certain people who finally made it. It took some time, it took some grit, it took some building of character in order to get there. Yes, people often see the promotion, the business launch, the healed version, the confidence. It's very rare when people show how they actually got there, though. Yes, the glow up, the finally getting there, that's beautiful to see. But what's even more respectable or beautiful to see is the grind. That's where the transformation actually happens. So the grind, the unseen season, that's when your transformation actually happens. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to stay focused is because we live in a world that rewards immediacy. We can order food instantly using Uber or DoorDash. We can stream entertainment instantly using Netflix, Hulu, YouTube. We can get information instantly, whether it's ChatGPT, Copilot, Google, Safari, if you have an Apple device. Just of a click and a tap and a couple keystrokes, you have got something instantly. You got the food, you got the information, you have got whatever you needed right there in that second just by pressing a few buttons. But because we're so used to these quick results and getting what we want when we want it, it can be frustrating when our goals don't work the same way. And the truth is, almost everything meaningful in life does require time. That healthy relationship you want, the financial freedom, the healed version of yourself, the degree that you're working towards, the business you're trying to start, the confidence, the dream home, the career you want to settle in. None of these things happen overnight. It requires some sacrifice in order to obtain these things. It requires patience as well to obtain these things and to learn how to keep these things. Delayed gratification is the ability to say, I want this right now, but I want that future version of my life even more. It's you willingly choosing discipline over convenience. And it's not because the sacrifice feel good in the moment, because we all know sacrificing anything that we want doesn't feel good. But because you're so focused on where it's leading you, you're willing to be committed to making those sacrifices. And honestly, y'all, take a moment and think about it. When has convenience ever really benefited you in a long haul? And I'm not talking about in the moment, because of course it benefits us in the moment, but no matter what situation it is, think of it as a whole. When has convenience actually benefited you in the moment and long term? I bet you can think of a moment where you're like, yeah, I shouldn't have did that because now it backfired on me. For example, you find out you had some extra money in one of your pants pocket or in your purse, and you're like, I really want to spend this money today. But your future self wants financial freedom. You may want to stay in bed, but your future self wants better health. So you go to the gym, you go for a run. You may want to return to old habits because they're convenient or they feel familiar, they feel safe, but your future self wants healing, wants to release those toxic behaviors. Making these choices is choosing delayed gratification. Simply this choosing what you want most over what you want now. Every day you're making the choice between what's easy now and what's beneficial later. And let me tell you, Delayed gratification, or me making the choice to choose what's more beneficial for me later, has saved my behind more ways than I can count. And as well as, and even if I haven't really been through certain things or had to go through the ringer or bump my head so many times, just watching other people that I care about and love bump their head so many times, it proves that it's better to choose the route that supports me long term and probably does not benefit me right now. One thing that I can say about my mindset, and that many people can say, I've been told by people my age and those who are twice my age that I am very knowledgeable for my age. I've been told this all throughout my adulthood, that my mindset is very different than expected for someone my age and my level of maturity and how I think. And that I often think about things that someone older than me probably will never achieve as far as the level of maturity. And I just thank God for blessing me with this beautiful mind, because of course, again, I can't give anybody else the credit because of that. But I look at things as a whole, the whole picture. I'm not just trying to get satisfaction for most things right then and right there. If I think it's something that would harm me in the long run or prevent me from succeeding at any goal or thing that I want to accomplish, I definitely reconsider things before I act. And I can admit that I have not met anyone with the level of maturity or mindset that I have. I'm not one to just keep bumping my head. I'm bump my head once. I'm gonna touch the stove once. I realize it hurt and it caused harm to me, and I don't like causing harm to myself, so I won't do it again. And I'm not saying I'm not better than anybody or I'm perfect, because I do make my own mistakes. I'm pretty sure. I definitely have failed in different areas, but what I can say, when it comes to learning from my mistakes, I do that. And I have discernment about what and who I choose to allow around me or in my energy if it doesn't contribute in a positive way to any of those areas of my life. I really do hold myself at a certain, or with certain delicacy, and how I care and respect myself. So anything or any decision that I make for my life and for myself, it has to be carefully considered. And I'm saying this to say that I am grateful because I've seen people of all ages go through things they didn't have to go through. They are contributing to their own downfall. And it's like, baby, you could be achieving this goal so much sooner than what you're doing, because you're not considering the whole picture of how this is benefiting you. You're just doing things at this point. And it used to make me mad, and because for one, I don't like to see people I care about continuously bump their head. But I started taking on that anger or letting it overconsume me and turn into resentment because I give advice and people don't listen, and then turn back around and say I was right. Well, of course I was right. But I had to learn to set boundaries in place that I didn't know at the time boundaries needed to be set in place in order to protect my peace and my energy and my mind. To be like, yes, give the advice the first time, but at that point, after that first time, let them learn. It's just like raising children, like you may see it now because you're 2 steps ahead in your brain, but they may not there yet. They're not there yet. And the thing that I've noticed about those that I watch bump their heads and watch this, eventually they figured it out. They decided that enough was enough, and I have to learn to start choosing the things that benefit me later than what is convenient now. And it allows them to see what I have been seeing the whole time. When you don't have someone to handicap you or figure it out, it teaches you to resist the urge to quit just because the results are not as immediate as you would hope. If you have someone constantly doing it for you or constantly telling you how to do something, why would you even try to do it? And then when the time comes where you do have to do it and that person is not there anymore, you're upset, you're frustrated, you want to quit, you don't want to do it, and you remain stagnant in your walk because you never learned for yourself how to be patient with your own goals, with your own time, with your own energy, and figure it out using that beautiful brain that the good Lord gave you, just like everyone else, and resist the urge to quit. One of the hardest parts of growth is that the effort and results rarely show up at the same time. And I'm not saying just because you do everything right that it will just come to you and the path will just light up. Some instances, there could be possibly situations where you are doing all the things right, but you're not seeing immediate evidence. You could be saving money and still feel far from your goal. You could be going to the gym and not see any changes for weeks or months. You can start healing and still have difficult days. You can work on your dream and still feel like nobody notices, nobody cares. And that's the temptation. The temptation is to believe that because you don't see results and nothing is happening, that you need to backslide and revert. But progress is often occurring beneath the surface long before it even becomes visible. Just because you do not see it doesn't mean it's happening. And yes, we have to lie to our brain. We have to lie to ourselves every day with self-affirmations and talking positivity into ourselves to believe it, to make yourself believe it, that it can become true. The more you believe it, the more you put the work in. Like to say in the Bible, faith without works is dead. You can be telling yourself till you black and blue in the face that this gonna happen. But if you do not work, you don't put no efforts behind it. If you don't put hammer to nail, sledgehammer to the wall, there's nothing that's gonna be done. You're just gonna be sitting there waiting for a dream to happen. And most likely, I don't think that's gonna happen. I mean, I don't think we live in a fairy tale world, but it is gonna require you to put some work in. But not seeing it is believing it. Okay? Growth compounds over time. Most people do think success comes from one big decision, but in reality, it comes from hundreds of small decisions that you do repeatedly and constantly. One workout will not transform your body. One therapy session won't heal years and years of pain. One deposit won't create wealth, but repeated over weeks, months, and years, those small actions become life-changing. Growth compounds just the same way as interest does. The results seem small at first, but then suddenly they become undeniable. You see it. You believe it because you see it. Now, one of my all-time favorite things that I actually don't like, but I am trying to work on gaining this attribute, is patience. Now, why is patience a part of this process? Well, simply is patience is just waiting. Patience is continuing to work while you wait. And it's a hard thing to do. I myself don't have a lot of patience. I think that's also a reason why I am not ready for children. I don't have patience. When I'm in traffic, I don't have patience. By the time I turn out the complex of my apartments, I'm already calling somebody every name in the book because they did something wrong, or they're in my way, or they're driving, as I would say, slow fast. Those drivers who are driving fast enough but not fast enough for you to get over, and they trying to block you in, or they taking too long to pass you up so you can't turn the lot before another car comes behind them. Those irritate my soul. So I don't have as much patience with much of anything, honestly. And I have been trying to work on it. I've been trying to, like, when I feel myself getting flustered or getting frustrated, I stop. And specifically at work, this is what I do. I stop, pause, and I just breathe. And sometimes I kind of notice that my cortisol level is kind of like decreased, but it's already flared up. So then therefore that contributes to my PCOS. And now I'm a inflamed potato. So I've been trying to practice patience, but patience isn't all that fun. And trying to step out of your box and even make the conscious decision to decide to choose patience is not always easy. But in this aspect, patience is needed. It's what you're going to be doing through each stage of your growth process. Anybody can stay committed when the results are obvious, but patience is showing up when the process feels slow, the rewards feel distant, nobody understands your sacrifices, your grind, nobody sees the vision. The vision still only exists in your mind and you have no proof for it just yet. Patience is believing that today's efforts mattered even when today's results don't reflect it yet. Many people quit because they expect progress to feel exciting every day, but growth is often repetitive. It's choosing the same healthy habits, making the same disciplined decisions, and showing up again and again. The people who actually reach their goals aren't always the most talented. They're often the people who were willing to stay committed long after the excitement wore off about the goal. They were willing to respect the grind and stay committed to that grind and was determined, I'm going to get here. I don't care if I don't see it. I don't care if I don't have no proof about it. I know I'm going to get there, and taking the steps necessary. Even when steps are not producing what they need, they keep taking a step. They keep trying. They keep going for it. I want you to think, what if the life you're praying for is on the other side of a few more months of consistency? What if you literally had this goal that you wanted to obtain, where it was saving enough money to put a down payment on a house, or financial freedom, or staying consistent in the gym for either health reasons, or you want to be at a healthier weight for your body type? What if it just took, you thinking it's going to take years and years and years? What if it only took a few more months, but you didn't know it yet? But what if? And you're sitting here, keep quitting, you keep giving up, and time is just passing you by. And whole time, it only could take you a few months to reach your goals. Sometimes we're not as far away as we think. Sometimes we're just one more season of discipline away from seeing what all that sacrifice we've been doing, we're building towards. Isn't that amazing? Delayed gratification, all in all, is simply telling yourself, I trust the future. I'm creating more than the comfort I'm tempted by today. That's it. Now, let's move forward and discuss a little bit about staying disciplined without validation. We kind of briefly discussed in delayed gratification how it can be a little bit hard when no one is clapping anymore, or no one sees the vision, or nobody understands the grind, or understands what you're grinding for in the first place. How can we stay disciplined without having those external validation? Or we just don't have the energy or strength to validate ourselves, or the motivation to even understand. Because sometimes, because you don't see it, or because others don't see it and question it, it can make you at some point be like, why am I even doing this in the first place? Well, let's talk about validation. Why does external validation become addictive in the first place? Well, it's simple. We as humans like to be encouraged, recognized, and celebrated. And it can be a way of showing that we are doing the right things, or we're headed in the right direction. But it can lead to you measuring your progress by people's reactions rather than your actual growth. Just going back to what I just stated. If someone says, okay, well, I don't understand why you're doing that, it doesn't make sense, it wouldn't matter anyways, or I guess, girl, I guess you finna waste time. You start second guessing, and you start thinking, well, If I don't feel the results or I don't see the results, I guess they're right. Why am I doing this? It doesn't make sense. It leads you to quitting early because you listen to those outside opinions that should have been blocked off in the first place. You begin to start asking yourself, did anyone take note? Did anyone acknowledge my hard work? Am I getting enough recognition? Instead, you should be asking, am I becoming who I said I wanted to be? Am I keeping my promises to myself? Am I growing? Do I have better habits? Living in external validation or the validation of others is a dangerous place to live because people are simply inconsistent. Their support may come and go. One day they might be lifting you up. The other day they're going to be questioning. And one day they may not even be around to even do either or. They may not even notice. They might forget about you and be overconsumed about what's going on in their life. But at the end of the day, your goals still require you to be committed, or it requires anyone to be committed. Other people are not responsible for keeping you motivated. That is your duty. If you're only working hard when people are watching, that could be dangerous. That's the difference between performing discipline and practicing discipline. It's easy for everyone to know your goals. You receive the compliments you want. You're getting the attention because discipline isn't what you do when you're inspired. Example, anyone can post going to the gym. The real work is when nobody knows you are there, nobody cares, and nobody is tracking. You will actually lock in because you don't have any distractions. Your character is built in the moments that never make it to social media, that people never see. Those places, those dark places, dark, lonely, and cold places is where character is built. Think of it like bacteria. This is oddly the comparison, but it makes sense. Bacteria tends to grow in dark, wet, moist places where things are alone. That's where the bacteria reproduces. You see the most bacteria. It doesn't produce where the sunlight and things are seen and it's exposed. It doesn't reproduce as much as it would if it was dark and locked up in a cold place in a basement where there's humidity and moist, where the sweat is. Same thing with your goals. If you working out or just your goals simply, you put in the work, you sweating day in, day out, you put in that work. That's where you grow. That's where you build character. You have to learn to become your own source of encouragement. Be your own cheerleader. Because at some point in your journey, you have to stop waiting for someone to come motivate you. There are going to be days where people do not motivate you. You have to learn to be proud of yourself for things nobody else knows you overcome. Many people are waiting for someone to validate their efforts, but self-confidence is built when you can look at yourself and say, I am proud of how far I've come, even if no one else sees it. I am genuinely proud of myself. That's where that confidence comes from. Because if you get your confidence boost from people and outside sources, what happens the moment when they think different of you? You're going to think different of yourself. There's no way to live. Having that confidence and knowing that you can achieve it, you can do it, and you can cheer yourself on, whether if you're alone or in the presence of other people, it also helps you to resist the urge to want to quit as well. So let's go ahead and make the decision today that no matter what it looks like, no matter who sees, no matter who watches, who don't watch, who's not in my corner, let's own that and be our own cheerleaders. And another thing I want to touch bases on is building in private. I can't stress this enough. Stop talking about your goals. Not everyone is happy for you. Not everyone is protecting your baby the way you're protecting. Build in private. Make it special. Make it intentional to you. Make it intimate. There is power in moving in silence. Protect your dreams during those early stages. Protect it as if you were a mother and you were pregnant with your child. As people who do, or women that do have children or ever been pregnant before, you know that during your first trimester, that is the most critical and vulnerable stage of your pregnancy, and when miscarriages are more likely to happen. But as a mother who is carrying a child, you must do your job to protect that baby at each stage, not just the first trimester, throughout the whole pregnancy. Whether that looks like resting more so that you won't be fatigued, eating foods that give your child nutrition, or even taking prenatals to take care of you and the baby. Make sure y'all getting the adequate amount of minerals or vitamins needed during that stage. Even adjusting your sleep positions for adequate blood flow to reach your baby. And the main goal is to make it past the first trimester. But if you really look at it, it's really trying to make it to the very end of that 9 months in order to have a safe delivery and birth a healthy baby. That's the main goal. And just like pregnancy, just like your goals, you are carrying your goals to the very end, whatever that looks like, through the exhaustion, through the whole discomfort, the growing pains, the different changes with your bodies and your hormones and your mood and all of these things. You are enduring all of that, so at the very end that you can birth a healthy baby, a successful goal, or you reach your glow in life. And just like after you have your baby, you're excited, you're relieved that you got it out, you're done with that part of life for now, until you have decide to have more kids, if that's your thing. But you are like, look at this beautiful thing I created. It's the same thing with your goals. Protect them, because people will try to steal, kill, and destroy your dreams before they even are able to be seen. Let your results speak for themselves, and do your duty and protect your dreams. And yes, the grind will feel lonely. Watching others seems like they're moving faster. You're going to have feelings of being discouraged by slow progress. I'm not going to say just because you do these things that it won't happen. And you won't get tempted to compare your beginning to someone else's middle or whatever stage there is. It will feel like that. It's just being able to pull yourself out and make that conscious decision. Okay, stop. Let's get back on track. It's being able to hold yourself accountable when you're the only one that can be held accountable, because this is something that you decided to commit to and you're so determined to reach your goal. And you want to experience that glow that everyone talks about or experiences in their own way. Of course, this is one of the first things I should have mentioned. Defining what your glow really is. I think in order to combat those negative feelings and to be able to maintain consistency, you first have to define what the glow is and what it means to you, or your reason why. Is it more success? Is it confidence? Is it keeping promises to yourself? Becoming the person you said you wanted to be? Trusting yourself and showing up for yourself more? Or proof you didn't quit during the grind? What is your reason why? What is your glow? The real reward isn't what you achieve, but who you become while achieving it. That character you're building, every stage, every twist and turn. That's the importance. That's the beauty in it all, in order to reach the glow. There will be seasons where nobody sees your effort, understands your sacrifice, and recognizes your growth. Keep showing up anyway. The work you're doing in private is laying the foundation for a life you'll be proud of later. Yes, one day people will notice the glow. What they'll never fully understand is the grind that made it possible. So commit today. Just simply say, I am willing to stay committed to my growth, even when nobody is watching, applauding, or understanding my journey. Commit today. Before we close, we are going to end this episode with this season's mantra. Before we do that, we do our breath work. So if you are not ready yet, go ahead and pause this episode if you're still jotting some things down, or you're just trying to write down your why it's fresh on your brain. Anything that you want to finish up before we actually decompress, release all that negative energy, release anything that bad happened today, release that energy that does not belong to really take in this mantra and sit with you. Go ahead and pause the episode now and resume when you are ready. So we're going to go ahead and breathe in and breathe out. Again, take it in deeper and breathe out. Last time, I want you to be real intentional with it. I want you to take it all the way down. Breathe in. And breathe out. And I want you to repeat after me. I honor what ended. I protect what's healing. I reclaim what's mine. Repeat it. Sit with it. Let it be the reminder that this year is yours fully. I hope you really enjoyed this episode and look forward to seeing you tune in next time. We're going to be discussing protecting goals from outside opinions. We're going to dig a little deeper into moving in silence, not needing approval, and letting our results speak for themselves. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications on my YouTube page at I Am Enough Pod. If this message resonated with you, please share it with someone who may need to hear it. You can also follow me on Instagram at iam.enoughmsl. If you're locked in this season, feel free to share a photo of you journaling your reflections or this season's mantra on Instagram. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.